Hello, Kalon.
Hello, Spork. How are you?
I'm good. We are.
Hello,
We
our
should be
audience. How are we?
live.
Yeah, we should be live.
I think so.
Yeah.
And
Hey, just let us.
hey, we have a chat window working as well,
Yep.
which is cool.
Yeah, fantastic. I actually can't see that on the overlay in here, but I can see it on my phones.
Yes. Yeah. I. So what we got? What we'll have a quick look at the teams before for a couple of minutes.
Let's.
So the best way of doing that is probably this.
hmm
Um, so we can have a look at Minion first.
Yeah, let's. So this is a pretty nice dwarf team coming in at 17 here. That's a tractor. He's got a tractor. Not only has he got a tractor, but he's got a tractor with block, which is
Wow.
nice. Yeah, so it is quite funny coming up against Norse in the first round, and even the tractor has block. So that's literally everybody on the pitch. A tremendous amount of move ups, uh, which is fair enough. Two on the blitzers at the top. One of those blitzers is very nice. The extra move on that guy, making him move six, is superb along with Blodge and Guard. Blodge Guard, obviously, what you want your blitzers to have. The second guy is fine. Missing dodge probably would have turned down them to take stand firm personally, but that's fine. Both the runners are seriously developed with a level to take as well, which is interesting. The problem with the two level runners is that you kind of want to play both of them at the same time, which means you're losing longbeards. And as we all know, longbeards are the best dwarves because they're absolutely broken. 70k with block, thick skull, and tackle.
Yeah.
Uh, so the both the Slayers pretty nice. Mighty Blown Guard, agility and jump up, which is very funny. It's a lovely meme. If you're gonna take the agility and you get the double, you might as well take the jump up. Because all of a sudden that jump up is on a 2+ rather than the standard 3 you get off him. And some lads with guard, which is great. He is down some guys, including an armor busted lad, but it's too late in the season for you to do anything about that. And I mean, he's still a dwarf. He's still armor 8 with the armor bust and guard. But it is very importantly two absent guard for the game today,
Yeah.
and he does want to be able to manage to hopefully muscle in against these Norse. So tough call. So we're
He's only
looking
the
at
one
17.
strength up, isn't it? So it's a bit
Yes,
lacking in strength. Oh well, I guess the
it
death
is.
roller helps.
The death roller does help, as indeed does the strip ball tackle runner. But again, the problem there is that you've got both of your runners on the pitch, and so two runners on the pitch, two slayers on the pitch. All of a sudden, you've got four armor 8 guys on your pitch, which is not what you want with a dwarf team.
No, and
Um,
he's being
he's
very
also
coy
got
with the,
160 in the bank. He's 10 over,
and he
but he has a
still needs
skill
the
to take.
level.
So we're looking at adding there. So I can do my maths: plus 10 minus or plus minus 10 plus 20. So we're looking at a 1790,
Yeah.
which is pretty
So
tasty.
let's hop
Take that into
over
consideration.
to Jeddy.
Yeah, as we go and have a look at Jetty.
That's a big team value.
It is. Yeah, 1940 is pretty huge, especially if you notice a couple of things. The first is that he only has two rerolls at that team value is ridiculous. And he does have a leader, so he does have three because he does have a thrower. Um, yeah, it's a lot of Norse, which, to be honest, is kind of what you want. Because especially in the game coming up against dwarves, you're expecting to take some cash, you're expecting to get banged out a bit. It also has the added benefit of you being able to foul as much as you want. He'll foul as much as he can with his dirty player. As soon as that guy gets sent off, he'll just keep fouling with other guys.
Oh, and
Yes,
he's still alive. His armor
he's
6
still alive.
berserker.
Yeah, he's still alive. Judah, the lad himself, who managed to, well, pretty much win the whole of the cup last season for Jed, because we have to take note of the fact that Jed was indeed the winner of season 2 of the cup with the Arab Blood Bowl League. So the man knows how to play his Blood Bowl, and he's I mean, he's good with Norse. You can make comments, which I have, about how he high rolls a lot, but I mean, you just lean into it. They're Norse, they high roll, that's their shtick. You just put the skills on them and make sure you get as many opportunities as possible to go in for the high rolls. He does that. He manages to get more hits than anybody else, because of the clever use of frenzy and his clever use of some other stuff. He manages to get more hits off than the opponent consistently. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter what your armor is. If you're getting hit 4 times by Mighty Blow, you're definitely going down and you're probably getting hurt. So he leans into it well. I like it. Both of those berserkers are absolute badasses. In a weird way, the armor 6 guy is actually safer for him because he spends most of his time lying down. He gets up, punches something, goes back lying down after hopefully getting rid of it. Um, Also nice to have the Dauntless on him as well as Juggernaut. Don't know how well it's going to come in because there's no stand firm or anything like that, but the 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 Dauntless is definitely nice. Oh, he does have the if he does need to move the tractor out of the way, he has the ability. The other amazing standout guy here is obviously that runner, agility 5 North runner. Runner already being moved 7 makes him really, really valuable scoring threat. Immediate access to dodge, making him a really good blodger. He's got sure hands as well, so he can walk into a lot of tackle zones and pick up that ball. But why bother walk when you can leap? Leap on a 2+. I mean, it's a really, really nice player. It's a lot of fun. Very rare that you manage to get a Norse up to that level. He's got 100 plus star player points. Guy costs 230k. I mean,
It's
that's
worth it.
a long way from his original 90 starting cost.
Yeah.
But
Let's go see. I'm going to cut you there because I want to see if the game has started.
Fantastic.
They might not have. I mean, it
No,
depends
indeed.
how
Well,
long,
it's
how long
shortly
it takes to make that
after
level.
shortly after 9 o'clock, so I would imagine that they would.
Oh, I'm in the wrong place. Automatic.
Yeah, good point there. I probably would have bought the Longbeard, to be honest with you.
No, there's
Wanderer. So still not back. Yeah, I probably would have, just to not have the roller. Exactly. Yeah, it is a big issue. Yeah, there's a lot of points there in the difference. I suppose if you're worried about your bank, which I don't think he necessarily was, you can always just take an extra couple of linemen. You could even induce level 2 linemen and give them guard. It's a dwarf with guard. You're not even particularly worried about the lack of rerolls on him as the loner because I mean he's got block and everything else. There's very little to do. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what these inducements are. I would hope for at least 2 induced lads, probably a bribe, almost definitely for the roller, and we'll see what else. So he's got a wizard as well. It appears they both have wizards.
So yeah,
because they're in a wizard stadium.
They're in the Wizard Stadium. Yeah.
They are. That is hilarious. Okay. Well, here we are, folks.
So 3 rerolls each. So
yep.
Minion took the Apo.
Yes. Well, he already has an Apo.
He got it.
He didn't take an extra. There's only one there, right?
Yeah.
Or is there? Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So he's got a babe. Yeah.
He just
got a babe. Both have a wizard. He does not have a bribe.
I thought
that's
he
a
was
bribe.
going to have more than this, inducement wise, right?
Yeah. Well, if you tap the control button a few times, Sylvan, we might work out that some of these are star players. That looks like Boomer on the sideline. Or is it Flint? On the right-hand side there on the sideline.
Ah, yes. So he took Flint.
Yeah, it's Flint. Cool. Flint is expensive. He's 130. Not probably the greatest. I'm much more of a fan of Boomer myself. Problem again when facing Norse is not beating the armor. The problem is the injury roll. And hitting guys with mighty blow bombs is a lot better overall. Yeah, Flint.
Sorry about the alt tabbing, screen sliding. It's the worst thing in the world about the Blood Bowl client.
Yeah. That's definitely the worst thing. Yeah.
Okay, well, it's one of the annoying things.
Not anything else. It's specifically that. Yeah.
I have too many windows, but I'm closing most of them now. So.
Who got to choose, Sylvan? Can you click on the bottom of the screen there? Who got the fans? Who got the choice? It doesn't say.
New.
Oh, that's fine. I would imagine it was. I mean, this
Perhaps
working
it
out for
will.
Jetty.
There'll
Jetty
be.
wants to go first. Norse want to go first. You always want to get your hits in as well.
So chat. I'm very interested in audio levels. Whether I'm louder, whether Kalon's louder. Right. Both of us are a bit quiet.
Both of us are a bit quiet.
Okay, well I can do that. I can do that.
Well,
I can
Aledo's
put
things were
this up,
both fine,
and I
so
can
it
put
might
this
be.
up. I was looking at the levels, and it's going into the red on the bars. So I was like, "Ooh, maybe that isn't the greatest." If we're both quiet, maybe you could turn the volume up. Indeed.
Yes, might be an idea.
Uh,
But do please get back to us, Big Slippers. If you
yeah.
think that.
But in particular, if there is a difference in clarity or volume, that's a big thing I'm trying to learn. Okay, maybe I was overcorrecting from the last time where Chavite came on and was basically as loud as the loudest thing in the world. Oh.
So here we go, guys. That is almost a touchback, not quite. Underland, the Minion for Hire getting an extra reroll from the kickoff. Nice start. And here we go, opening with some basic hits. An immediate armor break on a dwarf from a, Fend. People underestimate how great a kill skill Fend is. So going to work there immediately.
So we've got some. We've immediately got trolling from chat, hijacking my attempt to improve the quality of our work by mocking your accent. I mean, the fact that you have an English guy doing all of your era social organisation and streaming, it suggests maybe you should get on the case a bit. Like
that is a big Kaz straight off the bat.
Oh my god, what a start for Jeddy.
Oh, and I think he had to Apo that. I think this is it can be a bit of an issue sometimes when people see the badly hurt. They realize they've got 4 rounds to go. It is round 1, but that is a blitzer with guard, and that he really could have done with for the game. I think that was a mistake not to have Apo'd it. Any thoughts on it, Sylvan?
Yep. Like I know. I mean, I totally get why he didn't feel like he could, because I also live in fear of the next roll being even worse.
Indeed, yeah.
But Jeddy obviously doesn't.
Into the pass. Good lord. The complete lack of respect shown by these Norsemen for their erstwhile tiny kin. Immediately going for the pass here. Now there's some interesting plays that can be done here. It's a really nice chain off so that you could actually. It's going to a little bit trickier now, but that dwarf roller does have break tackle. If you can manage to get the guy that's currently on it off, it's going to be able to dump directly into that cage on a 2+ and get 3 dice on that.
Well, it's getting him off without using the blitz is the tricky thing. He's going to have to try to push, isn't he? Push somebody on, right?
So yeah, Elados, I take your point entirely that it isn't the death, it isn't anything else. But the use of an apothecary in a situation like this on a badly hurt would have immediately brought that character back into the game for him. This is win or die. It's knockout Blood Bowl. It's different to try to work out anything else for a league or anything like that. He's down at guard. The one thing he has over this Norse team is guard. It was one of his most mobile guard pieces as well. And I think personally that's a big mistake. Using the app on a badly hurt guarantees that they come back at the start of the next round.
It was indeed missed next game.
Yeah. Oh, is it an MNG?
It was MNG.
Okay.
So it would have been what, 50-50?
It's 50-50. I hadn't realised there was an MNG.
So I think
take back all criticism I gave.
Well, I think it's a genuine consideration. It's just a hard choice instead of a fairly straightforward one.
Yeah, indeed. If that was a badly hurt, I'd Apple with it all day long.
Yeah,
because you have to win the game. MNG it's a real pisser because I don't.
Yeah, I don't think there's a right or a wrong necessarily. Oh well.
right and wrong.
Just bang them out.
There we
Just
go.
don't need to don't need to hamper your
Yep.
guys if you bang everybody
Again,
else out.
we're going back to this. You thought I was joking earlier on. Fend, proving what an amazing kill skill it is. The second hit here from the strong runner being used to make the blitz for some reason manages to get a removal, which is pretty fantastic.
No,
Just push
tempting not to use break tackle and double base the ball.
Yeah, surprising to be honest with you. I suppose it might be a little bit too aggressive for him.
Rowdy.
And he's doing the right things overall here. He is getting lads in front of the ball. Not necessarily a great thing when they do want you to be in front of them, though. Does have this one dice here. Going to have to take the line of the block in the center of the pitch first for ordering, because he does need to tie down that guy that he just pushed off the roller.
Oh, and Fend.
Oh, and Fend is going to prove his undoing here. Not just a kill skill, also a really handy skill to have on Norse lineman.
Fend is the star of the show tonight.
It really has been, hilariously. And so a pretty good turn overall. I don't think you take this one dice from the that guy. Yeah, I don't think you take that, even if you are dwarfs. Failure state is just too bad. Currently, it's a one dice. He's going to have to bring somebody else in there to make some more hits on it. If he fails that, you're in all kinds of trouble. Oh, and the dauntless hit from the Slayer. Ooh. Well, that's another dauntless one dice, and he gets the punch. This could be a double-edged sword, however, because frenzy meaning he does have to follow up. It's not going to be a very hard task for him to be able to surf that guy, especially with the jump-up hit coming from the strength 4 down berserker. So an interesting turn. He is, like I said, in front of people, and that's a good thing. Straight in with the POW versus the Blodge Dwarf. Doesn't break armor, piles it on anyway.
Yeah.
Let's see them high rolls. Flips him, stuns him.
Not as high as it could be, but
well, it's going from an armor break of a 6 all the way through to the armor break of higher.
Yes.
So yeah, not a fan.
I know how you feel about piling onto non-armor breaks.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, it's generally not considered a good idea, but it is, to be fair, one of Jed's
specialities.
It is, and he does it for a very good reason, because of the fact that he reckons that the guy is safer being in the ground than if he's standing up. If he is standing up, he does get hit, he does go down, he is armor 7. If he's lying on the ground with a bunch of other angry Norsemen around him, he's not likely to get hurt. So I get why he does it. Not exactly ideal. He wouldn't call it. It wouldn't pass the purest Blood Bowls. Dauntless hit coming in. Does get it. Fend. That's an interesting push. Oh, he's got Juggernaut to ignore the Fend. How interesting. Right. That guy's off the pitch. He was just about to get fouled by the look of that lovely positioning he got pushed into as well. Debating the Apo on that. Don't think you do. You save it for something a little bit more. Quite honest with you, I think the dwarves at this stage might be better off just letting him roll it in. Jed obviously trying to get it in as soon as possible in order to get rid of the roller. So some pretty nice positioning overall. He's going to have to try to tie down these guys. Needs the GFI, I think, to get over the top of them. Nope, decides just to tie that guy there. Okay. So the world isn't over. There is that stun on the guy thanks to the jump up piling on hit. His tractor is free. Not able to do much other than lend a bit of assist. It is one of the problems with getting the block on the roller is that he does not have guard. He is definitely one of the guys you want to have guard because he's such a strong player. Able to lend assist to everybody is a really big deal.
Yeah.
But Block is a good skill, very hard to turn it down. Of course, there's the argument for dodge on him. Dodge is pretty spectacular on him, to be honest with you. Being able to use the dodge to trigger your break tackle. So even if you don't make the dodge, the 2+ on the first time, you have a built-in reroll rather than having to reroll it on a loner. And of course, there's the opportunity for you to actually just reroll the natural 6 with dodge in order for you to then be able to break tackle at the other side. And because he is Juggernaut and because you use him to blitz all the time, Block not necessarily getting a huge amount of value. In addition to it, have effectively the same defensive value as Block, and making a super fun piece. The roller is move 4, strength 7, agility 1, armor 10, and has pretty much every single strength skill that's available in the game. 4, 7, 1, 9, 110 actually. Yeah, there you go. So the only thing he's missing, he can't get. Yeah, he can get. He needs grab, and can't get strong arm because he can't. Oh, that is unfortunate. Loner reroll works, which is very nice. Love the dodge in.
Yeah.
And a nice KO. That worked out better than I was anticipating, I have to say. Lovely hit, and the ball did not go out. It has, however, managed to land directly beside the agility 5 guy, so not sure if there's going to be much of an issue with ball recovery next turn. It is, however, next to attractive. Oh, he did get the dodge in on a 6.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So if he wanted to here, he could and probably should make the break tackle GFI to base up both of those players.
Yeah, because he'd have only needed the break tackle if he failed the dodge.
Correct.
His natural dodge.
Yeah. So if he was to make the GFI here to base not only the ball, keep it on the sideline, but also base both of those guys. I mean, that guy can use his Dauntless if he wants, but he's going to need a 6 or something ridiculous. He needs a 4 or 5+ to get his Dauntless hit. So I think it probably would be worth the GFI here.
Oh, well, Wanderer is just pointing out he had GFI'd twice. Because it was one GFI and then the Blitz was the second GFI.
Fantastic. Thank you, Wanderer. You're miles ahead of me. Terrible at this commentating, Mark.
You're the one that's meant to give me the answers when I ask the stupid questions.
Indeed. Yeah.
So, I'd still, as you say, it's still looking promising for the Norse. I mean, it feels like they have options. When you've got an Edge 5, sure has.
Definitely. Really nice removals. I don't think he's going to have much difficulty getting this ball out. The middle is a little bit open.
Yeah.
Coming in for a blitz here just to make sure he can get that open. Will pile on because it's Jed.
Not successful.
Didn't break armor there. Oh, we got a bit of a moonwalk. And he's going straight through. The cheekiest of cheek. You gotta love it. I mean, they're all 2s, right? So why not? He's going to have to get some other guys around to cover this because... he just went in.
Which it does seem early.
Yeah.
You think the knockout was on his mind?
I think the getting rid of the roller was the exact thing that he...
Of course.
Yes.
Of course.
So, does he have the bribe? I believe he did buy one, didn't he?
I don't think so. No, I'm pretty sure he spent his money on...
just everything on Flint?
Yeah, and the Babe, right? It was only about 200.
Yes. Oh, and great use of a Babe. Getting the old snake eyes there. No bribes on either team. Thank you very much. And hello, nerd. Thanatos, how are you?
We should say hello to everybody in chat. Hello, chat. Thank you for joining us.
Welcome along. You join us at an exciting moment where we're just about to get set up for this drive.
If it...
Wizard still in play is also super interesting. I and a wizard for both teams. Yeah, this could be pretty exciting. Jet opting to move his Protect 5 back a square in an ingenious method through which he negates a lot of hits because dwarves, as we know, are ridiculously slow. Would be interesting to see what happens overall. Because of the knockout, he is indeed forced to play Flint. So we only get Flint for the remainder of this drive. Be curious to see what he does with him. Does he plan on using him to blitz? Does he plan on using him to foul? What way is he going to see if he can get the most out?
I, I think I'll pretty much say this every match I commentate. I cannot stand fouling without a bribe because I always get sent off.
Yeah, no, I understand, but you just have to make it worthwhile, right? I mean, currently there's 3 Norse lads on the line of scrimmage now. If any of those guys survive, they cost 50k. The exception of Mr. Tackle Fend, man, costs a whopping 90, but hasn't really got a huge amount to contribute to this game. Certainly not if you manage to get a foul off on, say, a move, a move guard, blodge, mighty blow, dwarf. So it's all a question of what you're willing to trade. I mean, if you get caught for doing a foul, but it's removed a dwarf, I mean, I think that's pretty worth it on a 50k player.
Yeah, but if you're using what's his face, then that's 130. Right?
130, yeah, for sure. So it just depends on who he's using it to foul with.
Yeah.
I definitely think the fouls here are much more in Jetty's favor. But it being a dwarf drive, dwarves are very good at fouling. And he doesn't really need a huge amount of assist to break armor 7, whereas he's got the +3. And one of the reasons that Flint is the most expensive, and he is the most expensive of the chainsaws, is that he is, at the end of the day, a dwarf with block and thick skull.
Yes.
So
very dwarf looking.
Yeah, you can tell. You can tell he's a dwarf because he's a goblin. But he doesn't necessarily need to use the chainsaw. He can actually just punch if needs be.
True.
Yeah, one of the reasons I prefer Boomer overall as a dwarf coach is because of the fact that he only costs 60. Still gets sent off after the bribe. Still has the bloner, thick skull, and block. Is only move 4, but the bomb is just great, and you can use him to foul at your heart's content because he only costs 60k, which is really cheap.
Yeah, stupidly cheap. Is that still as cheap as that in 2020?
He's actually been removed. We don't have him yet. There are very few of the bombers and chainsaw stars have been introduced to Blood Bowl 2020 yet, so it'll be a while before we see it.
Cool.
Now, yeah, you're making a good point, Elados, that it's very risky. You do get sent off. So with that in mind, you have to decide when it's worth it and when it isn't. So obviously a foul where you're getting sent off and you're not going to get anything from it is not good. But getting a foul when you're able to get something huge from it is definitely worth taking. Sometimes you need to foul just to make sure that you don't get hit in the next phase of play, so that the ball is guaranteed safe. And if that means you do it with an important piece of your own so that you can guarantee that the play is safe, then that's the right play. So it's all just risk mitigation, which is, local.
No, it feels like the dwarves have enough time to score here.
Oh, definitely. It's only turn 3.
Yeah. It does feel very early to be scoring.
Well, again, he did manage to just remove 190k from the team value.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's worth it. Yeah, I think it was the right thing. I think it was the right play. And the unfortunate thing about having the roller on directly, he probably would have been better off saving the roller for his own drive. But the risk there is that Jetty would have just taken some casualties, stalled it out, waited until turn 8. Then he would have had to have, if he'd taken casualties, he would have had to have both Flint and the roller on for that one turn 8 drive, got nothing out of it, and then have neither of them. So it is a recurring problem with having the roller.
Yeah, it's a bit of a meme, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. At the end of the day, if you need a roller, you can hire one, and it costs the same. Well, a little bit more, but you know what I mean. It's not like the wars are ever short of having some cash. So yes, Thanatos, either myself or Alados will be playing the winner of this game. That game tomorrow at 4 o'clock, Irish time, 1600 Irish time, 1700 UTC for anybody who's available and would like to watch.
Yeah. Um, I'm gonna have to talk more in the commentary
Yeah.
for that one. I like this commentary, by the way.
Mhm.
But I do need a co-commentator. So if anybody would like to volunteer from chat tomorrow and is available at 4, give me a poke. Um, Otherwise, I'll be all lonely.
Oh, right. Yeah, thanks. Eldo's, yeah, again, I'm just really bad at this. Being reminded that it isn't actually, we get to play either Will Welch or Home Slice, and having done that, we then get to play whoever wins this and their next round as well.
We when we do the big preview of all the teams,
Yes, you'll be
we
able to,
will also look at the cup structure.
yeah, let's.
But we'll forget it immediately after doing the video
Yeah.
anyway. So, yeah.
So he has gone for the blitz with the chainsaw. Probably not a bad idea. The problem is that he's now kind of left him in dead space. He's pretty easy to pick on, and I don't think it was a good play overall because he's very likely to now immediately lose his 130k investment with piling on Berserker. So not the safest of safe. Ball is up onto the line. I don't know that he needed to necessarily rush this as much as he is, but I suppose you feel like you're down 1-0. It's only turn 3. You kind of need to score as soon as possible. He
Just
doesn't.
make
He
it.
only needs to score
No,
in 3.
no, he's definitely got time to grind his way down.
Very much so, yeah. I think he could probably, if he can afford to take his time. I just don't think he.
And he's
He
not.
will.
He's not. Well, I guess he doesn't. He has it ball protected, but it's certainly not caged.
That chainsaw in particular is 5, 3, 2, 9 with loner block. Thanks very much. Oh, gets the second hit on it
Gets
and
it.
does get it on the second hit. Had the third option if he wanted, but who needs it? Just high roll. No ammo on that, it being a star player, and there we go. So it was a risk when he brought it up that far, and you can see why that was probably not necessarily a great idea. So Jed's probably want to keep his dirty player free here, and I'd probably bring him back. Oh no, just face up. Fair enough. Would have been nice to have the dirty player free to be able to go and do whatever he wants next turn. Not sure it's a particularly good idea to just give away those hits. So one of the problems with having brought the ball all the way forward onto the line of scrimmage is that he's now kind of stuck and separated. I don't see a particularly easy way through. You can clear up the central Slayer to be able to go and get 2 dice on the Wolf. See if he can make some bit of... Oh, he's done it the other way around. Fair enough.
He's got this nice blodge blitzer lurking.
He does.
I mean, it's currently part of the cage, but
Yeah.
he needs to start using his guard a bit more, his remaining guard, I think.
He does. Jed has done this really, really well. He's managed to lock down all of his various guards from too far away. Dwarfs being forced into dodging.
Yeah.
So he can get in there to make the 1 dice. For a little, does get the hit, does get the down, but on fend. We'll see if this manages to do any damage, and it does. So a nice healthy stun, which does help him by being able to give him some room on that side. Now, does he decide to go for the risky play by blitzing with the ball carrier to free this wolf out? I don't think it's necessarily good. The Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens next. I'm not really sure what the correct play is, to be honest. Using the Slayer so early on in the turn reduced a lot of his punching power. He needed that Dauntless to be able to try to move that Wolf to be able to take advantage of the fact that he did get that stun. But that guy being there is going to prove very problematic. I'm fine with the giving up of the Longbeard. I was fine with the giving up of that Longbeard in the center. He's got two very nice pieces on him. I'm willing to sacrifice him to hold up both a Wolf and a Berserker for a turn. I don't think you necessarily need to bring that guy in, but it is what it is. We got one dice either side. In fact, he's got one dice on the Ulf. That's it. Probably not enough for anything.
No, I mean he's not gonna. He can't make a break for it either. He's got we've got a couple of very nice ball recovery and blitzers lurking.
Decides to use the ball carrier as the assist.
Big play. Well, I guess
it does get the POW, but the follow here. Yeah, so the follow there would have meant that the back of the cage was open, and the stay unfortunately leaves the ball carrier on the front of the cage and quite accessible. So there is a guard there, but don't forget we do have plenty of strength 4 around the place, and some guard that can be brought into bear as well. Uses the blitz here, the risky one dice. That's the problem with one dicing dwarfs or one dicing Norse. So does he still go for the 4+ dodge? I don't think he can. I don't think it's necessarily worth it. Now, had it been the other Slayer, I probably would have tried the 3+ off, but him being stuck there is just, yeah. And again, a pretty nice trade. Ooh, cheeky one dice POW. Does get the other Ulf down. The lack of follow means that that's another guard that's able to relocate itself next turn, however. So, yeah, I don't think this is looking great. Immediately rebases.
Yeah.
You can do some stands up here. And I don't think it's going to be very hard.
Obvious intent to pressure aggressively, I think
yes.
we can predict.
Yeah, I think that's a fair way of saying it. Yeah. I don't know that there's an option available on Blood Bowl 2 for you to automatically pile on, but it appears that Jed has found that button.
Yeah, Jed maybe should submit that suggestion for Blood Bowl 3 while it's still in development. Hey, can you please add an option to automatically pile on regardless of armor break?
They have removed it from the game, thankfully.
Hearts broken.
Oh, to all of those poor Chaos players who might be forced to play the actual game of Blood Bowl rather than just basing their entire game on attrition. So, does get the second guard in. I think I can see him using his agility guy to do a jump in here to hit from the back square, which is quite clever.
It's going to make for good TV.
Yes, it is. That hit
is it a good idea? Well,
no, he's not doing it. He's decided instead to blitz with
coming around the side and just basing. I mean, it's basing.
I suppose being able to, he really didn't need that to be a push. So, yeah. So I think that's fair.
Whoops.
And that's the problem with throwing one dice blocks against dwarfs.
I mean, it's high risk for both of them. Bit of a swing there. I think there's a puzzle to unpick, but I potentially you've got you can block. I mean, it's protecting the ball once you're past. But
yeah, the problem is and will forever remain the elusive agility 4, agility 5 leaping.
Yeah.
Runner.
Well, it's turn 5. He has time to try to re-cage if he can, with a bit of luck.
It's going to be tricky to get any extras out here. He does have the ability to. There are some chain pushes if he wants to try them, but I don't know that he will. Probably wasn't the best place to start off, but can open with the Slayer, get the Dauntless hit, does get it into a push, needs to keep him on the guard, gets another go at it, and the block will mean that they end up staying there. Has, however, removed that guard off the Longbeard. Longbeard does get 2 dice on the strip ball, so it's a nice hit, well able to take it. Can make a bit of space there if he does manage to get through. It's a question of how many dwarfs he's willing to leave behind here and how many he can take with him. All of that basing by Jed has managed to suck in a lot of players. That's not really going to help. Well, I say that. Oh, had he followed, there was a really nice chain push to get rid of all of those guys, and yeah. So had he followed, he would have made a nice T and a hit from the left hand.
Hitting here.
This hit would then have been able to remove the runner from the bottom. But he's managed to get his guy free. Does get an extra hit. It's just a question of where he can take the ball now, because it's not particularly safe. I think you take the hit in the middle on the strip baller. Keep him knocked down on the Slayer with a follow, and manage to take that space through. He will be able to get 1 dice by bringing across the.
Oh, nice this is the armor 6 guy.
Yep.
Nothing. So now that's
there's
that badly hurt Apo refusal.
Yeah, indeed, that refusal is a deal. Seems to think he doesn't need that guy. I beg to differ. Gets the hit. Unfortunate for this not to be a POW. He will have to take the follow. Because he does need to get that dwarf through the other side and make the only feasible dice available on the ball carrier a 4+ Ulf dodge. Yep. I mean, not as much space as he could have. I think he's relying on the. Probably could have taken the extra 1, but he's worried about the runner. He probably should be, but it is only 1 dice. And the runner can still get around and hit him there on a 1 dice, so I think you're better off making it a little bit freer. It's not like he has much recovery after he does so. Yeah.
And he does take the movement. And the GFI.
Well, that is interesting.
And the other GFI.
Gets him just free of the...
so leaving really just the Ulf hit.
The runner can double GFI to get the hit. And the Ulf hit is probably the best one to do. Now, with the guard hit where it is, a 2 dice hit directly down will be able to push the Troll Slayer off the Ulf and allow him to be able to dodge. Does need the POW on the hit. Because there is a lovely T junction here. Yeah. So he gets it. Did that incorrectly.
Doesn't push
needed to push that.
The Berserker.
I think he's more keen on getting his I think he wants to go for the hit with the jump up, which I don't necessarily think was the right thing to do. I think he could have easily So not quite seeing it. And a very unfortunate 1 in 9, which leads to a stun on Todd Chavez II. And I think this gives the Norse or the dwarfs an opportunity to stall this for at least 1 turn.
Which is, I think, Norse can score fairly quick. They've got their runners and their edge 5, can't they? So stalling would be good.
The edge 5 is and move 7 is such a threat, let alone the fact that he still has 3 remaining frenzy players. So it's not going to be a huge hardship on him to get the pushes he needs on the line. I do think if he looks back at this, he will rue the fact that he didn't see that chain push to knock that guy free. Gets the double pow on the strip ball. Keeps him in the center. Fine place for him to be. Does have a Longbeard free. Of course, the Longbeard will struggle to be able to get any good defense in there, with his tiny legs only allowing 4 squares of movement. Doesn't bother with the defense. Decides instead he wants to base up and indeed bring up the guard without managing to get him free. So I think he needs to move this ball regardless of what else he has planned.
Yeah, it's a pretty safe move to move the ball. If he's decided he's not gonna, unless he's thinking,
unless he's just not going to stall. I think he might want to find out what happened elsewhere before he decides if he wants to stall or not.
Well, what's in reach of him if he doesn't stall? Like, not because he can be based, but he can go stand by the sideline.
There is, of course, the wizard to worry about, Sylvan.
Right.
Or Spork, I beg pardon.
No, that's okay.
So goes to not the right stall square, unfortunately. He is still in range to get hit there, but
is he in range to get hit or based? I think it's based.
Based, yeah.
Based is a door. I mean, there's nothing that can blitz off the runner from being based.
Right. It's the hit there on the other. So will he take the blitz here so that he can take the hit and
he's gonna well, he's only leaving the blitz on the
stair, but got 4 rerolls and 3 turns, so this is definitely a reroll.
Clearly they're not listening to the stream, which is a very good example.
Yeah, we should point out that they're not in any communication with us.
Yeah, as proven. So didn't blitz at all, which is possibly a sign that he's finding that there's a lot of machinations happening. But he had 50 seconds left in that turn.
He did, and it's there's a lot of pressure on. It's playoffs. You kind of don't see everything as well. He is kind of down a lot as well. I'd say this might be one of the first times he's ever taken this much casualty, this much damage. Dwarf players are not used to taking this much damage.
Yes.
So it can be quite an eye opener when all of a sudden you are man's down.
Dealing with defend.
And the wizard does come in. No armor break is absolutely huge, and despite not being in the correct square, he manages not to lose the ball. It is going to be a very, very dicey 3+ pickup with sure hands when he does go to recollect the ball. I think Jed can probably put enough pressure on here to make sure that he will be forced to go over on his turn 7, which unfortunately will give Jed a chance for the 1 turn back. So that's before he's rolled any dice. I don't think it's worth going for the GFIs here. I think you just probably bring Agility Man down as far as you can to provide enough pressure on him. There's no need to make the GFIs because you're not going to get anything extra out of it.
Well, he has dodge. Edge 3 dodge, but it's still, you're looking for the 1 in 9, which isn't that likely.
Exactly. Yeah. So it adds another 3+ into it, which isn't necessary. Certainly not when you're already 1-0 up. I think losing the wizard is a big deal, though. That's going to be an unfortunate situation for him. Yes, you're dead right, the Wanderer. He was in that square so that it wouldn't knock out. He was, however, it's. I can go through it with you another time, but it is considered the incorrect square because he could have dropped it into the end zone, and the fact is that had he been, that's another lovely
big removal,
and another MNG, which I don't think he's going to be able to do. If he's 1 square further in on either side, the Wanderer, then the ball doesn't scatter to the end zone. The problem with is not that it goes out; it's the problem that when you attempt to pick it, it goes up, it goes out. So ideally, you need to be 2 squares in from both sides. He wouldn't be able to stay out of range of the other guy from being 2 squares in, but he definitely didn't need to be that close to the end zone, which is why I'm calling it the wrong square.
So even more damage. How is Minion's head state now? He definitely seemed to be feeling the pressure a little the last turn.
Yeah, without a doubt. Has given up on trying to defend anything back on the ball. Is willing to make these dice, which I suppose when the sure hands pick up is already has its built-in reroll. It's okay for you to try to go at these dice, but 1 in 36 has happened. 1 in 127s happen. I don't think I would be taking any of these hits on were I the minion for hire.
No, well, he got a KO. Perhaps he should stick. Yeah, he's decided to stick there. Oh,
Sure, not working out. Look at that! The ball went out, and ball is back in.
Now this is the horror show. Yeah. Horror show for the dwarves. One turn, no scoring threat. So it's perhaps not as bad as I thought.
To respond to Elados and the idea of being able to base the guy. So yeah, you could have gone for the double GFI over to base the guy so that he had an additional 3+ out. But bear in mind that the player with which you're trying to do that is a move 7, agility 5, probably your best player that you have overall. It's an easy surf, unfortunately, from having been stuck on the sideline. Crowd are nice; they do not hurt him. But the double GFI on an armor 7 guy, if he fails either of those, he's forced to reroll them. Doesn't have any reroll for the one turn touchdown, which was the thing that was likely. And of course, falling over when you're armor 7 can hurt quite a lot. You don't want to have to use your apothecary on something like that. So the overall risk of you rolling 2+s for somebody else to have to roll a 3+ with a reroll is not overall worth it when it risks that player's life. Was indeed a very frustrating first half. Dodge kicking in on the blitzer there. Very nice. And going to get this one last punch off. Nothing to worry about. Might as well re-roll it because it's his last turn. Has the re-roll to do so. Didn't get any damage out of it. No need to follow up, give away any extra hits. And the fact that he's able to shove him onto the other wolf means that he can one dice out of this if he wants, but there's nobody in scoring range.
Dwarven vanity pastime.
Yeah,
farm
I don't know
those SPPs.
Does get the guard in. We'll be able to hit with the Longbeard to free up the blitzer. The blitzer is agility 3, can pick up the ball, but again, with the problem being that he has nobody capable of scoring, so, and indeed nobody capable of receiving the ball, but he decides to go for the hit with the blitzer instead. Blitzer does have mighty blow, so fair enough.
Just the stun.
Mighty blow make the difference onto the stun, and it does. No, it doesn't. Mighty blow didn't go into play. So go for the 4+ pickup, 4+ pass. Might be his only option left for the half. So yeah, pretty rough.
Once again, not blitzing?
No, I don't think he has anybody to blitz, really.
Yeah.
Oh, he does. He's decided he's going to take this hit on. Be a nice little guy to get rid of. What with the dodge? Yeah, you totally reroll that. Has tackle, him being a Longbeard and then being the best player in the game. Does the follow. No armor.
It doesn't have fend, you see.
Of course.
So
and we'll there.
You're hitting people without fend all day. You won't do much.
So, pretty nice drive from Jet overall. Couple of little dodgy decisions made by Mini for hire, but it's totally understandable. You get frustrated. You're down a lot of your players. You've lost your roller, and you've lost your chainsaw. All of your inducements are gone. So some big KO rolls need to be made here. Decide exactly what happens. 3 out for the Norse.
Ooh, 2.
Only one of the KOs comes back. Nothing major was out. 3 injuries there, but 2 of them are not really required. Does get his big beefy um, lad back. The stream is lagging quite a bit,
Oh,
Sylvan.
okay. Let me have a look at my thing.
Yeah. Is the stream lagging for everybody else, or is it just me?
I'm not getting any. Wait, I'm not getting any alerts or notifications that was yesterday. Eldos seems to be okay.
Cool. That's
Okay.
okay. It's just on my phone. My phone is still currently going through the wake ups.
Okay. No, it's good to keep an eye on this stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I went through, I read a bunch of guides and I changed my settings.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed.
You're quite right. The Wanderer points out that it is indeed the dwarf's drive, and they do have a wizard still in play. So yeah, the wizard being gone is pretty huge. Um, so yeah, and he still has plenty of players, including guys with block and whatnot, and sorry, with guard and whatnot. He still has 2 very capable runners. Might be in a little bit of trouble here if he falls fully for this perfect defense setup. One of the ideas, as we all know, behind the offset line of scrimmage is that by setting up all of your hits on that one side, if a perfect defense is rolled, you'll be able to remove all of those mighty blow hits by putting guys on the other side. So maybe better to have spread out these hits a little bit better. Interesting that he's deciding to carry on the strength 4 strip ball. Does have fend, but very crucially doesn't have dodge. I suppose with the lack of tackle on these guys, it's probably okay to be carrying on the strength 4, but with 2 wolves and a strength 4 berserker on the pitch, I think I'd probably rather carry on the other one. Wizard is going to be a big deal here. Throw a rock into injury or death. Who's it going to be though? From we do know that Underland BBC does have the Fang.
Oh,
Perfect
here comes the
defense.
PD.
Yep, good old P Diddy. Immediately removing all of his guys from the line. Gonna actually show some guys in with guard to make sure he doesn't get as many hits as he would have otherwise. Does decide to keep his dirty player free. That's probably a good idea. I think the strip baller also, Jed knows that he's up against a team that has 2 sure hands. Strip ball not worth it in this game. Oh, and he decides to take him off the line anyway, deciding instead that Fend is
The optimal skill.
skill. Oh, it really is. It's been the decider for all of the kill skills today. So you managed to play some Norse yourself this season, Sylvan.
Oh,
How did you find them?
just the one season. Yeah, I did. It was a fairly limp affair.
Okay.
It was. I had um, no good rolls, and I had fun with them though. I mean, they're Norse, you know.
Yeah, they're a tough team.
Buff guys in pants.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, definitely one of my favorite teams. And yeah, I do really enjoy playing them. Fun, tremendously fun. So Ball not quite safe, but he's still going to go for these hits. I think Ball's never going to be safe when you've got an agility 5 leap sure hands guy on the pitch. So what are you going to do? You might as well take your blocks where they're presented to you. Gets another hit, gets the other knockdown on the other wolf. Will this manage to break any armor? Nope. Follow is nice and interesting. Does have another hit coming in from the Blitzer, who is going to find it difficult to come back into be of any real use on the right hand side of the pitch, I should say. Uh, so probably going to be forced to do the pickup before any of the rest of these blitzes are. Yeah, I absolutely adore Norse. They're just so much fun. What I really enjoy about them is the ability to just constantly change the board state. That much frenzy means that you can constantly be giving everybody a headache by constantly just rearranging everything and where you want everything to go. Should probably push away the guard out further. No, tries to keep them all intact, and indeed the follow. Oh, it's a frenzy hit, of course. What am I talking about? So is he going to line up for a foul there? Seems
Very
interesting.
well. The pickup becomes game. Well, okay, I'll do that first. Okay.
So that's pretty aggressive considering this cage is based by two guard at the front corner. So does provide a little bit of extras around the back. Hmm. Okay. I think he's certainly feeling the fact that he's down quite a lot of players. And like I said, dwarves are not usually in this kind of position. Also problematic for him next game, and two of those are MNGs.
Yep.
But he does have two returning MNGs for his next round. One of whom, or both of whom, in fact, are guard longbeards. So if anything, his team is stronger.
At the start of this half, it was 9 Norse and 8 dwarves. I don't know if that's changed. So I don't think it's changed since then.
No, I don't believe it has. Nine on eight. No guard on that side, so does go for the large hit. Oh, and a lovely armor break. Now this will be piled on all day.
Yeah, gets him.
KO. There goes the backup runner. Pretty huge KO. Does mean we're down to one proper dedicated ball handler. Ball handler is admittedly strength 4 and does have fend. And indeed, it's going to be difficult to pin down here, him not being in any way in base contact. But the way in which they decided to attack this means that there are a lot of guard, and all of those dwarves are pretty much stuck in. So it's going to be tricky to get much movement out of this.
Yeah.
Now, he does have some really interesting chain push options.
Fend making that harder.
Interesting one to start off with. He does manage to get rid of one of the elves, but the lack of down is interesting. Does mean he's able to get 2 dice that way.
Yeah, we had a great game that turned into a game of sevens last night. It will be interesting to see. I mean, the dwarves will be hoping for a repeat of of those numbers. 2 players down right now. Very hemmed in.
Very hemmed in. I think it's going to be very difficult for him to make much ground here. He daren't make this hit as well because unfortunately the positioning of the Ulf and how it was pushed off from the initial hit means that the Slayer is going to have 1 into 1 dice, which he won't even have as a result of that guy having fend. So only the 1 hit from him, unless he decides to take that second hit, which wouldn't be a bad idea if he manages to base him. Thought that might have been the blitz, but deciding he's not willing to give up much. Yeah, I think he'll turn down this and take the frenzy. So he turns it off and does not use his fend. A fair point, Elados. Always difficult to gauge this early in the game. The dwarfs are very hemmed in and they are very slow, but they do have a wizard, and the score is only 1-0. So it is early doors. I wouldn't be willing to give up on it entirely. He's going to have to get that dwarf out of there because at the moment there is a 1 dice jump up pow or hit on it. Oh no, it's 2 red dice, but that's not going to stop taking it. Certainly not when you can get other people in. Goes instead for the ball carrier blitz. It's a bold choice, Cotton.
Well,
See
it
if,
has paid off.
yeah.
He's not been punished, for sure.
No, be punishment. Yeah, you're watching too much Jimmy Fantastic if you're calling for punishment on things.
Well, Blood Bowl is, of course, punishment in itself.
Indeed, yeah. The act
But
of playing Blood Bowl is punishment in and of itself.
yes, I was reflecting last night how much nicer it was to be commentating on a match instead of playing,
Yeah.
um, driving myself slowly insane.
Hmm. I think there can be a tendency for us when playing our own games not to be watching it from a spectator's point of view. You see, people get very focused on what it is that they're rolling and what it is that their opponent's rolling, and not really being able to see it for the whole that it is. That was a very cheeky pow from one of the few tackleless pieces on the pitch, managing to take down that blodger with a one dice. Staying still does mean that that guard again is going to be able to relocate itself, but he wasn't left with much of an option with that strength 4 berserker lying on the ground there. So you can see this being a case of base, base, base. Uh, there is the option as well of being able to get that ball carrier directly out of there. He can block the diagonal. Well, he's not going to go for that because that was the hit that required it. Hmm. I mean, one of the better things that Minion for the Hire had done was to just get in front of the ball as much as possible. And Jed so far seems to be doing a pretty good job of that himself. It's the two dice, just a push. Does manage to alleviate some of the pressure on the Berserker. Quite enough, though. I'd be curious if that jump up hit is used by putting that guard in on the very nice blitzer that's available. Goes for the two dice jump up. Seems that is the plan. But decides not to use the player I had in mind. One dice into one dice, which is, oh no, it's a two because he is strength 4. I'd
Unfortunately,
forgotten.
he doesn't get it.
He does
Unfortunately
not.
for Jed.
But the model is thankfully away from the skirmish. It's a very mobile piece, the agility and dodge, but dodge being rendered effectively useless being in base contact with attack.
Yeah, and it's very interesting how this left hand side is opened up.
Mm-hmm.
I should probably switch view to the attacking side.
The attacking team, yeah. Oh, we're all discombobulated.
Yeah, sorry guys.
Here comes the hit. Does decide to go for the chain. Will he push the ball free? Not necessarily get that he's getting it free per se, but certainly pushing it out of range, which is a very good thing when that's the fastest guy in your team and he's only moved 6. That has effectively added an extra turn into this score. So pretty nicely done. It's a very tempting fireball there. Side of the scrimmage, but I really think that would be a terrible waste.
Yeah, I mean, it would be a very big attempt at a high roll attrition fireball. And
Sure.
it's not vital, really, is it?
It is not, no. Especially not when, I mean, I think he's been given a little bit of space here.
Yeah.
The immediately jumping into base doesn't seem the best course of action, but
Coming around here and trying to tie up the.
well, it's tricky because
because it's frenzy.
yeah, the frenzy means it's that guy does have fend, however, so he won't be able to use his frenzy to get around the other side of it. But even if he didn't, I don't know that it gets much for you. Certainly not using the Slayer to do so.
Yeah.
I think that's probably is the best of the Blitz candidates, which is why he's been left there. but I don't know that you're going to get much good out of it. It certainly doesn't help you overall. Having said that, it is only turn 11. It is a lot of time to get down there. That's a very strange. Oh, I see.
Ooh, was a dauntless.
Yeah,
Dauntless vital.
yeah. I mean, it's only a 2+. That's fair. The
Yeah.
those pushes overall don't seem all that healthy.
No.
Um, does have one dice from the guard on the Ulf with guard now himself, but it hasn't really helped his overall plan. Not sure, but I think there might be two dice on that Slayer.
Yeah, if he's this is the Norse. Even though there's a really obvious split between the left and the right side of the pitch, which is all potentially dangerous.
Yeah,
The over numbers and the additional mobility of Norse, I think this is really a risky spot.
yeah, yeah. I'm inclined to agree. I mean, it's fine. You can probably get away with this. Um, there is one dice on that now as well. Ooh, and that's bad. That's a lot better. So this is a mighty blow hit on this berserker. Does keep him tied down.
Uh,
That's a huge KO. Absolutely massive. That has definitely shifted a lot of this in Elados's favor. Or sorry, Underland
yeah,
Minion
being
players.
a new streamer, I don't have an equity
Shit.
bar.
Yeah, we can just imagine.
Yeah, you'll
And wouldn't
just
take
imagine
one
your
die.
own equity shift bar.
Does he follow this? No, he can't. Right, and there's another guard that's going to be able to reposition itself.
Well, he feels like he's very committed to this flank now.
He's no choice in the issue, unfortunately. That was the space that was given to him, and he just has to double down on it. He is learning his lesson, though, by not being in base contact. That was a rowdy hit. Uh, no damage done to the Slayer. Armor 8, holding up.
So is he going to go for the one dice hit?
I think if he can get rid of this Longbeard, so he has got a dice on that Longbeard now, two dice there. He can get rid of that guy, and
And
that
now
does
he
allow
actually can bring in
that guy to
assist.
get in and give the assist. So he will have two dice, and it is two dice because Dauntless. So get the Guardian,
Right. Yeah.
jam it in next to the Fend. Or on the outside, just in case, yeah.
Oh, he's going with
And
the wolf. Yeah.
that's an odd choice, I must say. I suppose he's keeping the agility to be the
Yeah, the
receiver.
recovery.
Fend does its job,
I'd have.
goes for it to make it up. He is going to have to tie down. Yep, you have to go all around the top and tie that guy down. And that is tackle on that blitzer, which is a very important note. So now it's a question of just being able
Now
to
you've
run in and
got.
pick it up.
You do have these two untagged dwarves here.
I think he's likely to pick it up and throw it back to the thrower. Sure hands pops, does it. Oh, and he's going forward. Does he punt?
Is he potatoing? No, he's
No, he's
punting.
going for the
He's
punt
punting.
and gets it because of his stupid agility. And that's a pretty nice push. Yeah, that's pretty big.
Yeah, punting is something I often doesn't occur to me, because it's a weird thing to do. But against dwarves, you're going to win that foot race, aren't you?
He is. I think didn't properly identify the actual threat here, which is the guy who threw the ball. I think I would have brought that guy over to make these hits. So he has tried to catch him. I mean, it's a 2+ for him to get out of there. Will take the blitz on with the blitzer so that he can get that guy back down the pitch. He's going to have to make the dodge off with the runner later in this half, because if he stands that runner, he's going to go for a little crowd surf. Oh, he won't. He has fend, so I beg your pardon. This was a blitz, right? Nope.
Nope.
Okay. Right. Is he going to do the dodge blitz from the... Yep, I think so. I think this guy's going to do the dodge blitz. Let's hope he gets him. I think he forgot to hit blitz, did he?
I think so. Nope. No,
Nope,
he did do it. He just did it in a...
Tackle does come into play.
Oh, Pinky Penguin is injured.
That is huge.
Big. Badly hurt. Apo, of course.
Does indeed. The Apo is used, deployed, and he's straight back in for the next drive.
Yes.
So that's pretty huge.
It is very big for this particular game state. Because even though the dwarves are too slow to run to the ball, they're not too slow to go smash some faces.
Indeed. Yeah. So I think this is okay overall. He is probably going to lose most of the guys in the middle of the pitch. It's a question of who he decides to bring backwards.
Yeah, and then he's really looking at a 3-turn drive kind of thing in terms of assuming he is able to pick it up first try.
Yeah.
With has he got a show of hands?
No, but the runner on the right does. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's the guy to get back.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of. Unfortunately, really shouldn't have taken that. That one dice. Was fully punished for the one dice by getting stunned, but you do that when you one dice a mighty blow guy. So here we go in for the one dice. Yeah, that is down. So I would fend it. Fend set to manual by default, or you let it through. And he's injured. That's massive.
Because that really was the ball recovery.
It's not Apo that, and I think that's... Yeah, okay. Well, I thought a lot of them were a mistake. So, what do I know? Yeah.
Was it this guy that just got... No, it was another guy.
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree
with
the Wanderer. I really think that should have been Apo, but I thought some of the earlier stuff should have been Apo. Although, no, I changed. That one definitely is just too big. Not having the possibility of not having either of your runners is just too big a deal.
Well, the injury boxes are seeing quite a lot of action today.
Yeah.
On both sides, it has to be said, but at the Norse.
This is certainly a lot of pressure been put on the dwarfs, with only 4 of them available out of the 6 for this drive. And the important thing for Jeddy here is that 2 of his pieces have strength 4 and frenzy, and of course his agility is such that he should be able to deal with a lot of these things. Does get the POW, managed to knock the guy over. The fend does come into play, just push him back, and I think he'll have to double GFI to base not only him but the runner. Decides not to do any of them.
I think he still can think about them.
Yeah.
I know you're right. He has decided not to do them. And
that guy's going to go for a swim if he wants. If there's no better blitz on, I think Jed can afford to just restock where he is, not put any huge amount of pressure in. Let the dwarves go and see if they can pick up the ball, and all he really needs to do is be 2 squares away from any of these guys who are about to wake up next turn and bring them useless. People do give out about dwarves being overpowered, but saying that their movement isn't such an issue, but I would beg to differ. All you need to do is be 2 squares away from a guy on the ground. It's a pretty big deal.
Well, step 1 complete. Ball is picked up. Nerve-wracking with no rerolls, and
is on Blodge Tato as well, and he
Yeah.
does still have the wizard.
Yeah, that's it. I was kind of is the value of the wizard getting a little less now?
Uh,
Just because.
Perhaps I think at this stage you might be considering how important the wizard is going to be. You know that hopefully you're going to be able to get one score in this drive. If that can happen and you manage to have the wizard for the second half or for the third half, I should say, that's absolutely huge. That's a significant amount of equity. So that is something to take into consideration. And the other thing is he can get his strip ball free here as well. All he really needs to do is do this blitz from the ground, get his strip ball to blitz that guy and go over. I think he's going to go for the 3+ dodge and the go for it to make the actual hit all in, which it does work out. He gets the 3+, fails the 2+, still has plenty of rerolls. Most of the
No,
stuff
snakes.
does snake it into stun. Ryan Seacrest type is stunned, and that is a pretty big deal right there. Yeah. Yes, indeed. Yeah, having the lightning bolt able to just knock the guy down, but when it's on this side of
Oh.
okay, um, okay, um,
Oh, I see. So he's going to go for a. This is a. He's going for pass throw, a handoff throw play.
I'm not sure, to be honest. That is a very long throw from a dwarf to a dwarf.
He's going to have to. I mean, I can't see where the handoff
After
is.
a dodge. And no, the handoff just isn't really likely either. He has to stand up his two
And I
guard in
mean,
the middle.
there is potentially a handoff here, but it
That's a
seems
5+. You're not going to do that. You're better off just throwing the 5+ pass, but it is to a 5+ catch as well with no reroll. Does have a reroll on the dodge to get out of here, but yeah, I'm not sure about that wizard.
and he's got to go round the stun guy as well.
Yeah,
So it's
so that's it.
let's
So that's
see.
why it's a 5, I think. Yeah. And what's the gap from? It's
He's gonna
it's
yeah,
10.
unless
So
it's
it's
GFI.
actually going to be a 5. Yeah. Yes, he did use the whiz on the other side of the pitch on a guy who didn't seem to be doing a huge amount other than holding up a dwarf. Um, and the dodge fails the initial one in 9, and I think that's gonna be that.
Yeah.
Isn't stunned, which is pretty huge. But we do have a 3+ pickup coming in here, and the ability to just go wherever he wants with it. I think he just picks it up and goes to the other side of the pitch, gets the pickup without any hassle, goes straight in, and 2-0, turn 15. I think this is unfortunately GG. Important 2 knockouts back, both the Berserkers coming back. Does get his runner back, so that's something.
The power of the punt in full effect there.
Indeed.
Just
Yeah, it was a
causing
nice
chaos.
play. It was the correct call. Nearly come back to bite him a bit, but pretty questionable wizard, you have to say, to let him back into the game. I think if he was going to deploy the wizard there, he probably would have been better off wizarding the guy who was in base contact to get rid of the 3+ dodge. I mean, he was unlucky to fail the 3+ dodge with dodge. So that's always going to be tough.
Yeah, I mean, we saw that big one in 9 on Jeddy earlier in the game, and we felt like that was,
Yep.
you know, it put him in a tough spot, but
Surely did.
He didn't let it. Well, that's the thing. We saw Crow Dog's agility players last night.
Quite a few
Really make
stakes.
the difference. It does seem like Era League is very kind to especially the adjup players, not necessarily the elves.
Right. Very unkind, you mean?
Yeah, well, it has been at times, isn't it?
Yeah. There was some absolutely dastardly snakes from the High Elves last night. Um,
Oh yeah, yeah.
oh,
They there was no dicing last night. It was a hard fought game.
yeah. So yeah, I mean, your heart goes out to Minion for Hire here. That was a bad 1 in 9, failing the 3+3+ to get off the lack of tackle. But I don't know that it's necessarily a play. Um, Certainly, if he'd wizarded that guy, he would have been able to at least get the ball somewhat down the pitch, albeit belatedly. It's not that he didn't have time to go and score. I don't think he needed to be so drastic with the hit.
It was for sure the dream play, wasn't it? It was the big play.
Really, if you want to go for 5 5s to draw it up, yeah,
Yes.
yeah, that's the way to do it.
Yeah, but it isn't going to work most of the time. But it was very impressive if it had.
Yes, yeah,
I applaud the courage.
fantastic. Yeah, yeah. I mean, the vanity passes are great, but they're to level your players. There's no game to level for. I think he's going to go full on. Well, if he goes full dwarf,
Murderize.
the
I
best thing
mean,
is to just foul as many things as possible.
yeah,
Uh,
like if he can knock out. No, I mean it's he has to score. He
he
has to
has to score
score
twice
now and murder two
now.
players, and then he
You're
has
right.
to score
Yeah,
immediately again.
he needed that to be a riot so that he could score next turn, and then there to be a blitz. Uh,
Yes.
so yeah, no, this game is done, unfortunately. Well done, Jetty. Uh, did everything by the numbers.
And Pinky Penguin was not seriously injured. No, it was just a misnets. Or was it misnets?
I think all of those guys are just badly hurt.
Oh, he appoed. It
No,
was
no
badly hurt, and
lasting,
he appoed it. Of course.
yeah, no lasting damage to his team.
The the aberration. Edge 5
Does
runner.
get off. Yeah, that guy is still. I mean, to be fair, he did do that absolutely beautiful touchdown at the start. Shows the power of agility 5 by just dodging directly behind the
Mm,
roller on the sideline.
mm.
But he has been really babysitting them. And to be fair, you're coming up against dwarfs. That's a guy that you're going to cover in cotton wool. Uh, I think, to be honest with you, had the other agility guy not been taken out so early, there was a very real possibility that he would have just kept him off the pitch for the game. Certainly, if he had the chance for this drive, he would be off the pitch. And here we go with the correct play as well. He's just going to withdraw all of his good players, make sure that nobody can get hurt. And he'll probably use one of his linos to get one of these guys free so that they can run away. There's absolutely no reason for him to try to fight or try to get any more SPP. I quite agree with you, the Wanderer. Yeah, the autopylon
It's by his
is something
numbers. It's maybe
specific.
not by the numbers.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, he has a very valid point that if he wouldn't, like, he plays other teams where he
Oh, there
doesn't
you go.
follow
That
down.
is the story of the game.
Absolutely filthy just to finish off the game. Uh, yeah, didn't even kill him.
No.
Diced. As the reroll, might as well chuck it at it, and does indeed get away from
An insult upon. I think that classifies as insult upon injury.
it. So it wasn't an injury, but very much an insult. So he does have a point about the berserkers. If they're on the ground, they're not getting hit. So he piles on because they're only armor 7, and if they were to be standing, they could take punches, and that hurts them. So he just always piles on. I'm not sure I agree with them overall on the concept, but it is definitely a valid point of view, I think. but it's if anything, it's Norse by the numbers. You just high roll. You just keep rolling dice, and they eventually stick. And like I said at the start of the game, it doesn't matter if you're armor 9. You take enough hits with Mighty Blow, and it'll just break. I wasn't expecting it to be the Fend guys doing it, but that's a different issue. Nice 3 dice to finish it off. Fend stick it away. Is he injured?
I think another interesting part of it is is Jeddy's choice of the wizard's, what's it called? Wizard's Hut? Magician's Shop, right? Because Minion had the perfect efficient inducement of the wizard, and obviously he can't take 2.
Yes.
And he didn't get a lot out of the inducements that he then spent instead, right? Well, he got nothing out of the Babe. Or very little.
Babe is not really worth it on. I mean, Babe's not really good anyway. No. On a armor 9 team, and if you're hurt, you're out. You tend not to suffer knockouts.
And his chainsaw didn't do much.
The chainsaw I think he kind of threw it away a bit as well. He did. He used it. It got a stun, and then was stuck on the line to get hit. Jeddy did it perfectly. I mean, not only did he hit it with Frenzy with a Strength 4 guy, but he had 2 dice into 2 dice, and if them failed, he was into another 2 dice into 2 dice. So, went down on the 4th, but had 8 dice available as a result of where he left them hanging. And even with block and all the rest of it, you just can't do that. You can't do it to North. You can't give away that many hits. It's certainly not on an inducement that costs 130k. So yeah, I think a little bit of inexperience in getting into playoffs, probably had a little to play with this. Probably would have been a good idea to talk through with some people about what the best type of inducements you can get overall are. I think it's definitely a part of the game that people are a little bit inexperienced in, especially if the majority of the games that you've played are against the AI. So well done to Jeddybear and Bojack Norseman on reaching the 2nd round. Commiserations to Underland BBC, coached by Minion for Hire. Better luck next year. Yeah, Bojack Norseman, move on.
He gets a level on the lineman, a very timely MVP.
Yeah.
Probably a little bloaty at that point, but we'll see.
We'll see. Yeah, his 1980 team is bloaty, Sylvan, with no Yeti.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of SPP, and even more from today. So, thank you, Kalon, for the commentary.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. It was really, really entertaining.
No worries. Like I said, we're going to try to stream as many of the games live as we can. Can't guarantee it. But if we can't stream a game live, then we will commentate on the replay at a convenient time.
Indeed. So we will be back tomorrow for a game at 4 o'clock Irish time, 4 o'clock UK time, which is myself versus Elados in chat. Would you like to have a preview of that game? Or would we preview the other? Really?
We could, because I have a meeting with an American in half an hour. So
we've got half an hour to go through it.
If we want to do the whole team, or just the preview of your team?
We've got a couple of teams to go through, so let's see how many we can get through in half an hour.
Okay.
Because it'd be nice to have these here for other people.
Yeah.
If that's okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Would you rather we just left? Just leave us hanging?
No. So I'm not prepared, but that's okay. I just need to bring up the I don't have the bookmark for the who's playing who sheet.
That's okay. I have it here if you'd like. So yes, Thanatos, we're going to go through a quick team review. So we actually did look at your team yesterday, up against Shavide. Some interesting calls to be made. You're down 3 linemen because you've only got 9 guys, so we're adding an extra 3 6s are 18, so an extra 180 goes onto that team. So 980 and 180 is 1160. So it's an 1160 team, which gives you about 600 or so to play against. I mean, there's some decent players here. Move on the catcher is annoying, but it's still a catcher. It's still legit, even with catching Nerves of Steel. That's a game winner in anybody's book. Nice and cheap. Very unfortunate to be missing one of the blitzers, especially the tackle. What with Ghoul being there, but he has got plenty of wrestle, and the wrestle is going to prove an absolute nightmare, not just for the White's, not just for defense and his ability to take down ball carriers, etc., but also on defense when he is getting hit by guys with block, just going to have to result in taking the pushes. So I think this is fine. 4 linos, fantastic. So 4 linos is 200. So that's easier maths again. So it's 1180. So 1180 is, yeah, you're going to have about 600. So let's have a quick look at Shavide's team, and we can go through some of the options available. I think there's going to be some pretty nice inducements. Thanatos is a man who knows how to play Blood Bowl, but we do have here Shavide, the absolute god at Blood Bowl, who has been absolutely raffle stomping everybody in Division 1 all season with a very, very nice and very, very healthy necromantic team. 3 guards, all in the right places. Does have his killer White, who has just absolutely done amazing work. The mighty blow tackle piling on, being able to have a guaranteed non-frenzy blitz on a guy of that caliber is just superb. So definitely somebody to look out for. The Dauntless isn't going to really come into this, but it's just such a great skill to have anyway. Has got a mighty blow werewolf, which again Gus doesn't particularly, Thanatos doesn't particularly care about, with the Pro Elves being all armor 7. The Dirty Player has got so many kills for himself that he now has wrestle. If you actually click on that player, Sylvan, if you've got a second, Gorgeous, the Dirty Player, and if you just check his statistics, and he has killed 3 people, including 65 injuries. They're all from fouling, ladies and gentlemen. You'll notice that he's done a bunch of blocks and stuff, but he's got all of his points from SPPs, which is pretty fantastic. That is a beautiful killer, man. Very much up against it for Gus or Thanatos, but he is very, very able. And with that extra money that he's going to get, he's going to be able to induce quite a lot of very cool things. It is Pro Elves. They are going to have a wizard for sure. Has an option of taking Eldril Sidewinder with good old Hypno Cheat. Has the option of taking Jordell Fresh Breeze, the Agility 5 War Dancer. There's very little bad to be said about either of those characters. And I think he may even have the ability to take both of those and to take a wizard, and that will almost guarantee him at least 1 touchdown. I think this is going to be an absolute cracker. This game is going to be on Sunday night.
Cool. Shall we go through the playoff 1, 2, 3, 4 in that order?
Let's. Did you manage to find that sheet, or will I go find it?
I have it up on my screen now. So PK83. Oh wait.
Yes.
Yeah. PK83 is going to be up against the IPC.
Correct. So let's have a look at PK83. The team of tanks, they've been in Division 1 actually since Season 2. This is a very, very tasty dwarf team. Don't let the fact that it's 1940 tell you that it's actually got any bloat on it. We have 12 players here who are all absolute major stars. The guy who really stands out is number 1, Panzer, the very, very top. We have a strength 4, movement 7, block, dodge, jump up, ball carrier. This guy's an absolute tank, which is appropriate. Got some nice players overall. There is the strength 4 Longbeard, which is nice. The backup ball carrier has exactly what you want him to have. He's got the kickoff return. He has his fend. He has kick, which does mean he plays him again on offense. Again, not something I particularly like when you've got 2 more armor 8 guys on the pitch. but I understand why people do it. Leader, of course, giving him the extra reroll. Beautiful blodge, guard, mighty blow, blitzer, just a really nice piece. Has gone for the strip tackle on his other blitzer, due to the fact that he wasn't able to get wrestle on his main ball carrier because of the way they worked out. Has got the stand firm tackle, piling on mighty blow. Slayer, the other guy, is not far off getting stand firm himself. The correct skills in the correct order being shown for what they do. It's just a really, really tidy combo. Does everything it needs to. He's got all of the guard on the Longbeards. Problem in this team is because he's so heavily reliant on both of his runners, it is going to be difficult to get all the rest of the guys on. And to be honest with you, 6 guard at 1940 on a dwarf team is very, very slim. There would have been a good argument to go for Mighty Blur for guard on instead of tackle on either of the Slayers. But Slayers not having tackle is a genuine problem. It's a very frustrating thing about playing dwarfs is that despite the fact that most of your team starts with tackle, you end up having to give tackle to both your blitzers and your Slayers and normally one of your runners. But it's a superb team, very well played. PK83, an exceptional player, deserves to be in Division 1 for the last couple of rounds. Also plays quite a lot at CCL and has done very well in several other leagues in which he's taken part. So up against him, we have the IPC.
Right. Oh, yeah, it is, yeah.
Not a huge amount about the IPC. He has been in the league all the way through, has been playing these high elves for the last 2 seasons. It's a very nice high elf team, especially when you consider that it was brought down to, I believe, 4 players at one stage when it was in Division 3 last season. And by Shavite, his fledgling necromantic team, as he restarted his team last season, that those necromantic, despite being as powerful and ugly as they look, have actually only played 2 seasons rather than the rest of our 3. He had a good game against this fella who was in his division. That was one of the few games that I did watch. Plenty of blodge, absolutely fantastic things to have on some high elves. Really nice passer and ball carrier in the safe throw lad. Plenty of red stats or green, red numbers, green stats coming in there as well. So he does have a couple of move 9 guys. A couple of agility 5s is very, very handy. Unfortunately, they are on alignment. I tell you, one of the agilities is on a blitzer. 2 guard, 3 guard is actually 4 guard. Good lord, 4 guard is very, very nice for a high elf team. Does have the strip baller, no wrestle or anything on that guy, and he is unfortunately strength 2. And the big problem with when playing any type of elf and you have to come up against a dwarf is that good 400k of his team value has gone into giving his players dodge.
Yes.
Which comes back to bite you somewhat when, despite only having 7 Longbeards on his team, he has invested on 4 more of them having tackles. So it's going to be a hard day at the office for the IPC to get through this. Having said that, it's dwarfs, it's high elves, it's a classic game. High elves may not have the ability to use their dodge in defense, but they certainly have their ability to move around the table very, very quickly. And I think that could make this a really, really interesting game. Certainly going to be a fun. Next up, we have Angus, who is playing Lizardman. This is, I think, it's a very, very nice. It's a very, very nice Lizard team for 3 seasons in. It just has all of the things you want in all of the right order. Not a huge amount of extra doubles or anything on anybody, with the exception of the skinks, which is kind of where you want them. Rookie skink, obviously there just to make up some numbers. He had a number of skinks that managed to get 3 or 4 levels, and he fired them all to keep his team value nice and lean. Always the correct way to play these guys. Has 5 guard, all on big, big, strong lizards. That Croxigore with his stand firm and break tackle is able to actually be really, really quite the nuisance by being able to get around. The Mighty Blow piling on tackle guy is going to be really, really useful and has managed to get a significant amount of points from the use of that piling on skill, especially when coming up against Armor 7, which is a precursor to come. Nice to see that Angus decided not to take the last skill up on the thing until he found out who his opponent is. Um, some lovely skinks. The agility 4 is just beautiful. The wrestle is such a great skink. Being able to be moved 9 as well means that he can get pretty much anywhere. You cannot put the ball on the sideline against this team. That wrestle skink will go in and roll 2, 3 dice uphill and get that push and put you out.
You've got to give him bonus points for comedy naming.
Very much so,
Comedy
yeah.
naming the most important skill.
Yes. And they're great. All named after the chocolate bars that we all loved when we were kids. Good old Cadbury's. So it's a very, very nice team. The Sure Hand Skink as well is also lovely. Sorry, I'm way in a rush. And he's up against Amazons, which is probably bad news for the Amazons day one, but it's also a very, very tough racial matchup in general. Now, we're not dealing with rookie teams. We're dealing with some very, very tasty, expensive teams. Not a huge amount in the difference team values either, 1850 being a very expensive Amazon team, but you'll see that immediately the reason for that is because you've got 14 players, of which 13 have Blodge. Only 2 tackle on the Lizards makes this quite unfortunately a bad day for the Lizards unless you're managing to roll a lot of POWs. He does have a chunk of guard as well, which is good. Only the 1 stand firm. Does have the Mighty Blow piling on tackle guy. Will be able to go and do a lot of damage to some skinks. Has another tackle Mighty Blow, no piling on, and does have the Rattle ball sacker. 2 throwers, which is pretty odd. Both of them are block. I think both of them are niggled.
Yeah, I think there's 4 niggles on this team.
He's carrying a lot of niggles. So Saigrai is of the opinion that niggling injuries are not that big a deal. I've discussed it with him. He thinks that I'm incorrect. So we'll see whether that comes into play in this next game. Very nice team. Very nice to have 14 going into the game. A little expensive. A couple of arbitrary choices elsewhere, but I mean, certainly in the end of season of 3 seasons, you kind of don't care about the fact that you've got a couple of niggling injuries, especially since they're on blodgers. Tom's going to find it. Angus is going to find it very hard to roll those POWs to get through the armor to be able to get them.
Indeed.
And yes, Shavita, you're quite right. The 5 versus 6 guard means the Lizzies will be able to bully them. But then again, being able to reposition the guard and being able to get the guard exactly where he wants it to could prove pretty sizably important.
Now, Crowdog and Aiden already played their game, but we can have a quick look at Crowdog's post-game team.
Yeah,
so this is the team going into the quarters.
It is going to the quarters. So very, very nice team, expertly handled. He's managed to play quite a good chunk of the last season. Well, not with men down, but with MNGs and whatnot. The man knows how to use his inducements well. Very big casualty there with the agility 5. It was the apple was used on it and turned the armor bust into a dead, and I think he correctly chose to keep the armor bust because that is an absolutely brilliant elf. Will be back next round should he be lucky enough to make it through. Has the skill on Windy Shepherd Henderson as well to take lovely blood step catcher. So there's a wealth of opportunities that skill up can be even on normals. Shame to be missing one of his few block pieces, but I think the inducements could carry him through. It's a really nice elf team. You're always going to be playing a couple of guys down. It's a shame that one of them is agility 5, but Shane's a solid player.
Cool. So let's look at your team.
Let's. Do watch the vlog tomorrow.
2000.
Look at these. So it's a nice team. I've been very lucky with all of my injuries happening to the linemen. So this is the first game since the first round of the season. I had 12 elves, which was the first time I'd had it in the 3 seasons. And this is the next time that I've had 12 elves on the team. I'm used to just playing with loners as the lineman. But I have been exceptionally lucky with having only lost 1 positional to an absolute ridiculous gang foul by some Spaniard in the horrible matchup I had with Shavita earlier in the season. I've got some really nice players. The Witch Elves are just superb. The Leap Witch was fun. I did give myself a little bit of fun. Sidestep is obviously the better call on her. A couple of Roger linemen, it's great. Two of them are niggled. That's not great. I do have an armored buff guy as well, but hey, he's a body that isn't a loner. Some nice blitzers overall. Yeah, the team is good. Got some mighty blow, got some guard, got some edge ups. I mean, what more do you want? It's a dark elf team and a cool 2,000 points. I am up against. They are very scary, Aledos. Yeah, and here is my opponent for the next round, Kaiser's Glory, being coached by Aledos. And so it's a really nice Norse team. Small problem with the fact that it's only a season old, and your heart has to go out to the guy having to play a 3-season team old or three season game team versus a 1-season team. He's done exceptionally well to get into the team. He's got some really, really nice players. Blood Sure Hands leader catcher or leader thrower is a really, really nice piece. Great not to fall down the rabbit hole and take the strong arm because he's a thrower. Although he has leaned into the agility access on one of his runners by taking the catch. Probably dodge would have been a better option on him, but it does make him a legitimate ball retriever for a very good ball carrier. And while we're talking about fast things, movement 9 Norse runner is exceptional. Really, really nice guy. Unfortunately, doesn't have any dodge, doesn't have any other skills, is just little movement 9. I imagine if he had another season, that guy could be exceptional. Two Berserkers are fine. Questionable choice on the sidestep on the second double. Probably would have just turned it down for guard because the Blanche Garter would have been lovely. As it is, I'm elves and I'm out guarding this team. That's not a place where you want to be. Niggling injury on one of those agility 2 tackle pieces as well. Both those tackles are huge. Before we go away, I do think it's a missed opportunity to not fire one of those rerolls. You have a leader. Get rid of the reroll. You're down 60k. Get rid of the cheerleaders. Get rid of the coach's assistants. That adds up to 100k. And the 230 that currently is between us turns into 330, which gives us a lot more inducement options. I think Boomer, a Wizard, and a Bribe is probably the thing that I'd go for. Being able to spend the 40k. I haven't done my maths properly, but I think that's probably okay. That would be a scary package to bring in.
Well, we will know tomorrow how it goes.
Tomorrow at 4 o'clock when the game happens, which I'm super excited about.
Okay.
It's going to be. I think we've seen what Norse do to dwarves, so dwarves can do that to absolutely anything. Here we have the other finalist of the round of the last cup round, the man who went down to Jeddybear in the final last year. Will Walsh has a very nice orc team. It's taken quite a beating. You'll notice by the amount of number 2 and number 3s that are after some of these orcs' names. His 2 throwers, he has 2 Mr. Throws, both of whom are, I mean, eating up a world of SPP. They have pretty much all of the skills between them. And again, another one of those things, hear me give out about this, but it's the same as the dwarves we were looking at earlier on. You're so heavily reliant on 2 of your throwers, and they're the 2 guys who have to be on the pitch. And now you've got 2 armor 8 guys on the pitch when your whole thing is like your armor 9. I think it's a missed opportunity. Troll is basic and has guard. That's absolutely fine. One of the Black Orcs is a rookie, which is a bit of a shame, but he's the second one. I think I killed the other one, who was Black Mighty Blow guard. Has some Black Mighty Blow guard elsewhere. Has a nice frenzy. Tackle is probably superfluous to a frenzy blitzer. And has an agility 4 blitzer as well, which gives him a legitimate option of a catcher. And has gone pro as the last skill on his spare lineman, which is dubious. So team value isn't 1950. It's only
paper,
18.
It doesn't look huge for 1950, does it?
No, but he does have 60k over that he's carrying, which he hasn't decided to use on him.
Yes.
I think it's probably likely that he replaces the Goblin. He did have a really nice agility 4 Goblin, but it got finally killed after it was double. So I think it's important to get the Goblin, especially going into playoffs. Not only is it an extra orc, but it doesn't add much to your team value, and it can be thrown for the one-time touchdown, which I think is one of the main reasons that you want to have. It's the whole reason you have Troll as well. So Will is up against
Home Slice. well, if
Home
I can
Slice
find
and
the image.
Slice's Chorfs. So
Ah, who
this is a nice chore.
had a horror show season 2, but has roared back in season 3.
Quite indeed. He managed to get into Division 1 for season 2, and it did not go well for him. The abundance of lizards and orcs that were in that division did actually start coming to bear. And the couple of games that he managed to get against elves, where he was hoping to get some free SPP, didn't work out due to the games prior to that being against beefy orcs or beefy lizards who'd managed to do quite a bit of work on them, knocking out some of his key players, removing one of his bulls. He did earlier in the season have a movement 8 bull with block and dodge and break tackle, which was absolutely superb, who just died dead into dead on an Apo, I believe. He's also gone through more hobgoblins than you can shake a stick at. I think he's had 7 or 8 dirty players alone die. One of the dwarfs is dead as well. Was a nice dwarf, nothing major, but had guard mighty blow. Would have been another contender for stand firm, like the others that have got there. But the ones that have hung on are pretty legit bulls, are pretty legit players. It's a tidy little team, only 16-10, nice and neat. It has everything you need it to have. He is missing one of his wrestles for next game and missing a Mighty Blow Chorf. I don't think that's going to matter hugely. He's the underdog in this team, so he's going to be able to get some inducements. Would be nice maybe to look at Hartark or even I think Grashnik might be worth having a look at here. Just to get something in that can hold his backfield. Grashnak is an absolute beast when it comes to dealing with orcs as well.
Mm.
Grashnak, for anybody who isn't aware, is a strength 6 Minotaur. So I would be looking at taking that guy. He's definitely worthwhile. Might cost him a bit of money. I don't know if he actually has it, but it'll be interesting. This is going to be a good game.
Yeah.
And the winner will play against myself or Elders.
So
and
the next
game
playoff
of the round was the game that we just watched.
Was Jeddy versus Minion. We've already looked at Jeddy's team. So then the final playoff matchup 8 is Scrofula. Oh wait, hang on a second.
Yes, thank you very much. Yeah.
It's no snakes here.
It's team from Cobra Die.
Yes.
Here we go. No snakes here. And this is a tasty lizard team. You'll notice the two things that stand out are the 2 strength 5 Saurus right in the middle. Absolute anchors. Anchor, I said. So he had a very bad game last game, resulting in a niggling injury on his agility 4 skink, which is very painful. And strength bust on another skink, and a miss next game for Mr. Crocs. Mr. Crocs has been suffering from bin movement 5 since the start, but he has never had the money to replace him. Shibide also has a Cobra as a trophy zombie, his teams. So, yeah, you can tell from the matchup and how badly beaten up he was that he was playing Wood Elves last round. I'm not even joking. It was Wood Elves that did this to them.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, pretty funny, but also kind of horrible. And the lack of Crocs, the rookie Saurus, and the missing agility on his team is actually quite a big deal. So he's got his 6 Saurus, he's got 1, 2, 3, 4, only has 10 guys, so he will have to take a rookie skink, which isn't great news. And let's have a look at the other teams. So we've got 1540 in our heads to see what he's up against. And it's not a favorable matchup for Lizards, unfortunately, in the force of Sirens and his categorical imperatives and all of these fantastic free thinkers who have brought Claw and Mighty Blow to the table. So it's a decent Chaos team. Nothing spectacular. Unfortunate armor busts on both of the warriors at the top, but they've got guard. They don't really need to do anything else. One of them is kind of funky with his diving tackle and tackle. It's annoying to get away from, and very annoying if you're a skink. All of a sudden, it kind of comes into the fore. I certainly don't want to have to play with the guy either, because, I might make fun of it for being a bit of a meme pick, but you start dodging away from that as an elf, and you're like, oh, damn it. One of the guards out for the game, not a big deal. You can tell that he's just been building this for the last season by just throwing some guard on some goats, because what else do you need to do with them? Interestingly enough, has both a ball carrier and a ball retriever. Both have sure hands. One of them took the double for pass and has kick-off return, making him the initial guy to carry the ball. You notice that the other guy is a blodge, fend, sure hands, extra arms guy, which makes him not only good at picking up the ball, but also rather good at receiving it. Probably would have turned down the fend for two heads to make him that little bit more elusive, but it's a tiny little goat all the same, and goes to show all of the cool things that you can do with the access to general strength and mutations. Goats are really cool, and you can do really cool things with them. But we have at the second last man the one thing that everybody does with all of their goats, which is to give them block, mighty blow, claw, piling on, and tackle. That guy is an absolute beast and could win this game by himself. I think that he's going to have to be careful about when he does decide to pile on, because as soon as he does, he's going to find himself surrounded by a hell of a lot of angry lizards and a very small lizard willing to kick him in whatever it is that goes out between their legs.
Yeah, but the Scruff isn't going to be blessed with lots of lizards, and he's going to not have a lot of inducements either, because with the Skink Loner it's 1610.
Correct,
So it's exactly
1610.
150, which, I mean, it has to be a wizard, right?
You'd think it probably definitely has to be. The issue with being a wizard is that his agility lad is out. He's going to have to be very specific about where he does decide to put it in. The fact that he's got two ball carrier goats means that it's going to be very difficult to get that wizard into proper effect.
Yeah.
Because once you have one of them get hit, the other guy just goes over and picks it up, and there's 150 that's gone away. You'd think that if he had the money to do some other stuff with, it would have been nice to get Slibley in there maybe. Hemlock is a legitimate option as well. Hemlock is very, very good and does have blodge and stab, um, but probably not going to get the most out of them this game. There is only three tackle on the team. I mean, there's a mighty blood claw. Claw, I suppose, doesn't matter to the small guys, but the tackle elsewhere, and having three of them, it's a bit of a luxury to have tackle at all on a chaos team. So having three of them is pretty great. He's going to be able to spread them around the pitch and seriously hinder the movement of the Skinks. So, yeah, I think it's going to be a tight game. It's definitely going to be one to watch, and I would shudder to call it. Peter is Scrofula, who is our all-hail head admin for the league, is an exceptional player. Every time I play him, it makes me a better player, and I really, really enjoy our games. I think it's going to be really, really good.
Yeah.
I've played Sirens just the once as the opening game of the whole thing. His categorical competitors versus my Obsidian Sybarites, and I was going out to try to get my two touchdowns on my witch to see if I could get a level, and just about came out of that game with a. I think I actually lost that game 2-1.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean the guy can play Blood Bowl. That was rookie chaos as well. So the team has
Yeah,
come up.
it took him a little time to get it off the ground, but it's sailing pretty well now as we hit the third season, coming into its own just at the right time.
Yeah, you would have liked to have seen some more skills on those warriors, but
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
what it is.
That's 1760. It's lean.
It is for chaos. It's very lean. I suppose a lot of them. There's very few doubles in there overall. Only two doubles on the team, which is pretty cool, I suppose. Just the pass and the what was the other double? I can't even remember. But he's got a dodge. Yeah. But yeah, nice team overall. I think that's going to be definitely a really, really good team to our game to watch, as I
Awesome.
think they all are. Uh, Really excitingly, just as when we came to the end of the season and we didn't really know who was going to make it out of which division, it's looking at this list of people who are playing, and I honestly couldn't tell you who's going to get through all of the games.
No, it's impossible to call. I think there's fantastic teams and fantastic coaches. I think it's going to be a really exciting cup.
Yeah.
I will have to work out how to split this little review that we did out of the video for the game. Or I might just leave it and tell people go watch the game and it's at the end. Depending on how hard the technical side is.
Yeah, you're quite right. Shvile points out that on 11 versus 11. So
I would love to stick around longer and chat, Caleb, but I have to go. I'm sorry. Um, Thank you very much for taking us through that and for the
lovely.
co-commentary.
Yeah. Thanks everybody for coming along and watching. And we will be well. Should be Spork-bearer will be on again tomorrow at 4 o'clock. Do come along and watch that. I'll try to pop in afterwards and cry into the microphone about or come up with legitimate excuses for why the Norse have beaten me up and the Dark Elves have come to a horrible end.
Cheers all. Have a good evening.
Nice one. Cheers, lads. Thanks for coming along.
Bye.